place to promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the Lautimes podcast. And we are back, everybody. Welcome back to Lautimes, the only podcast on God's green earth talking about Los Tigres in English. And we are very happy to be back with you guys tonight. Have a lot to get to, and we have a new way of seeing us, I guess. If you're watching on Twitter right now, we're vertically tonight because StreamYard has introduced a vertical feature, so let us know what you think about that. But we got a lot to get to tonight, talking both the men's and the women's team, as we are officially in Liguilla mode for both teams. So please join me in welcoming the crew back here with me, as we've got my fellow compatriot up here in DFW. You know him, you love him as Double O Nation. Edgar in the house. You know him, you love him as the pride of Corpus Christi, but he lives in Houston. AJ. And the return of our beloved Lou Pop at Tigres_English himself. How are we tonight, gentlemen?
Good.
Doing great.
No response, AJ? I'm kidding.
No, we're good. We're good. Sorry. I didn't know my mic was on. My bad. We're good.
I'm messing with you, bro. I'm messing with you. It's good to be back with you guys. I know I just said this before we clicked record, but I'll say it again live now. Lou, it's great to have you back with us. We've missed you the last few weeks, and very excited to hear your takes on all that's going on. Everybody who's eventually going to join us here live, thank you for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube and Twitter, please do us a favor and help us out by retweeting this video, sharing the link with somebody, liking, commenting, subscribing, following the channel or the account if you haven't already. Helps us a long way into getting this out in front of more people. If you're listening on podcast later, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and let us know your takes in the comments if you are a Spotify listener. And if you're joining us live tonight, hang out in the chat, especially since Lou's back. We need some takes. We also may need your participation here later tonight, because we may or may not be doing some superlatives, as we like to do at the end of the regular season. We'll see if we get to that point. But come hang out in the chat. Every single time we record, it's better when you guys are in the chat, so come hang out with us. Before we start, I just got to say this on the air, because I have not been able to say this on any sort of air today. I've said it on social media. But today is a very happy day in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. For not soccer-related reasons, but for the basketball-related reasons, because, ladies and gentlemen, basketball exists again in this part of town, because they've gotten rid of the witch. So, ding dong, the witch is dead. Rip Bozo, whatever you want to say. We can finally move on somewhat from this stupidity that the former, now GM of the Mavericks, caused. So, I'm very happy today, as you can tell by my Lucas shirt. So,
For those that don't follow basketball, it's like when we fired Pauno. That's the sort of the same euphoria.
but like 10 times
10 times
better.
more, yeah.
Yeah, like on crack, on steroids.
Except Pauno didn't get rid of the franchise player.
Right, exactly. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness. I'm so happy. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the footy. So, as always, Edgar has prepared a lovely outline for us tonight. And I believe, Edgar, if I remember correctly, we're starting with the men's team, are we not?
That is correct. We're going to kick it off with the Tigres versus San Luis recap, which, of course, as you guys know, Tigres was able to close out their season with another 3 points to their name, a final score of 3-1 for Los Incomparables. Lots of events that we got to see, some surprise goals from Farfan. I think that was the biggest one. But let's go ahead and break it down.
Yeah, your goal scorers were Angel Correa in the first half. We were actually right in front of that. Alfred and I were, because that's kind of towards where we were sitting. Farfan scored in the second half. Diego Lainez scored in the second half after he came on. Nico Ibanez scored, even though it got called back for a foul or offside or whatever the frick happened. Gignac should have had a chance to score a penalty, but for whatever reason, that penalty got called back. In theory, we could have scored 5. So, a very good response from the team after very weirdly going down a goal at the beginning of the game. That goal was really like the way that that developed, just kind of out of nowhere, was really strange. But then the boys immediately came back and took control of the game right after it. So I'll share my experience with the game here later, but I want to hear your guys' takes as you guys were able to watch on TV and had a better view of the field. I don't care who goes first. Go ahead.
Yeah, just really happy with the squad. I'm really liking the way we closed out the season. And I don't mean just like the last 4 or 5 games. I think we've had a really good stretch. I think towards the middle of the season after the Miami game, there was some concerns from the fan base. We were sort of slumping, not so much our gameplay. I think just our mentality. There was some concerns there, and the big question mark was how was the team going to bounce back? How are they going to do after having such a disappointment result in League's Cup and then a few bad results in league play? So I was really proud the way the team kind of huddled around Pizarro uh, and just started to put some good games together. And the way we've closed, I think now we're looking as title contenders. I think this is a team that you could easily argue could reach the final and contend for it. We're in a much better place than we were, for example, to close the season last year, just because we have better pieces, adding Correa, but also the pieces around Correa, everybody's playing better. The wing plays better, midfielders are playing better, the back line's more organized. So I think there's a lot there to be proud of. We had 22 shots. XG was near 3. So we controlled the game throughout, I think, all 90 minutes. Transition defense continues to be somewhat of a concern. But if you look at the other 4 phases of the game, I think we're dominating them. We control possession. We had 69% possession, which is what Pizarro wants. But it's not that sort of stale possession. It's with intent. There's a purpose to everybody's movement. There's cohesion in the lines. I think there's just a lot to be really proud of, and I think Pizarro has done a magnificent job, especially after taking quite a bit of criticism earlier in the season. I think he's kind of showing us the type of manager he's going to be. So, really positive outcome. I think it's also something to really be proud of going into this Liguilla.
Lou, I want to ask you this because we've been talking about this the last couple of weeks while you've been gone, and then I'll kick it over to you guys. Do you feel like the balance of the team is a lot better now that Romulo is sitting as the number 6, like in front of the back line? Because I feel like it is. I feel like our build-up play is so much better. I feel like just every single phase of play just feels so much better. His tackling is insane. I don't know. I just feel like we're much better balanced with him there and Angulo playing as a center back next to Joaquim as opposed to Romulo playing as a center back.
Yeah, we gave up on him way too early last season. I think we plugged him in. He didn't look like he was ready for that spot. And then after 2 games, we just said, you know what, forget it, bench him. And I think as fans, we gave up way too fast on him. And I think honestly, the best thing that happened to him was to play in that back line for a little while because it sort of let the game come to him instead of being the guy in the mid who has to kind of worry about different aspects of the play. Uh, so I think that was very beneficial. In part it was due to injuries, Angulo being out, some other circumstances that allowed him to play at the center back position. So I think that helped him transition into this new role, which he's doing so good in. Arnoldo had asked me privately in the group chat like maybe a month ago. Said, "Hey, what are you thinking about him in the midfield? It's awesome." And I'm a big fan of having a shutdown holding mid accompanied by a more offensive kind of mixed breed type of central defending mid. So I think it's what you said is spot on. I think we're balanced because we're able to defend very well. And what surprised me a lot about Zuar too is that he's a lot better passer than I thought he was, or he's maybe perhaps he's improved under Pizarro.
I would
But
say he has. Yeah.
and I think that's also facilitating play because he's able to play the long ball quite accurately, which allows us to hit those gaps a lot quicker. We're a lot more direct than we were, for example, earlier in the year or even last year. We're able to get to offensive spots a lot quicker, and I think Zwarg has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I remember looking at his tape from when he was playing in Brazil, and I never felt like he was a great passer. So you're right. Like that is an aspect of his game that has improved dramatically ever since he arrived. But especially this season, because like you said, even last season it wasn't even like amazing. Like he was fine, but with Bauno, his role wasn't defined, and then with Guido coming in, same thing. But now that he has the role, fully there, it's allowed him to grow as a player. And like you just basically alluded to, like the team looks and feels so much better. Brunetta doesn't have to be as deep as he was. And when he's further forward, he's magic. Honestly, he really is. Especially with Correa right now. So that's a big deal. Let's talk about youth minutes. I'll kick it to you, Edgar. We got the youth minutes completed, which is great. But let's talk about the main contributor of those minutes on Saturday, which was Marcelo Flores. Got a surprise start and honestly didn't look too bad. Is he have a role, or does he have a role going forward, or was that just like he's just gonna play this game and we probably won't see him again?
I think it was a bit of an evaluation as to if we want to retain him on this squad for another season or if we do want to continue to explore the loan option for him. I know that was previously discussed that, his continuation on this team was kind of up in the air. He's gotten a couple minutes here and there. I think for this previous match, it was kind of a combination of both those things. We need those youth minutes, but also here's one more shot for you before we go into the transfer season. If you're going to be an asset to this team, or if we're going to have to look for other options. And I think he did solid. I think he can still contribute, but he's definitely got a lot of room to grow.
Yeah, I felt like he was fine. Wish he would have, like, Alfred and I were saying to each other, and Alfred Stad, who, by the way, Alfred Stad is a party, by the way. Great hang. We were talking during the game, like in the stadium, and we just kept on saying, like, he needs to release the ball quicker. Like, he keeps trying to take too many guys 1-on-1. He gets double teamed, and it's like, dude, like, get rid of the ball, or like go further forward quickly. Felt like he was like too slow in the game. So I don't know. I could see like him getting spot minutes here and there, but I don't see him. I mean, obviously he's not a starter on this team right now, and he shouldn't be. If he's a starter on this team, something's gone wrong, right? Like somebody's gotten hurt or somebody's suspended, right? Like something bad has happened. AJ, Marco Farfan with a goal. Not only has he been just a revelation this season, but now he's on the score sheet. Fatma saying he scored 2 goals. I think they fixed that error. But like yesterday, they said he scored 2 goals, but he did clearly only scored 1. Talk to me about that goal and just his overall contribution to this team ever since he's joined. Because man, he has been such a surprise to I think all of us, and every week he improves.
No, I was gonna say like it's definitely a surprise because I remember when we announced the signing, everyone was like, we really wasted the last day of the transfer window on this guy. So there was a lot of doubt there. But I will say he was given the opportunity to start on the left, and he's exceeded expectations. I will say the follow up to that goal, that was really, I liked his play. He was my man of the match personally. I liked how he was on defense. The goal helped. So yeah, definitely, I love his play. I love what he brings to the squad. If we can get a left winger that's consistent, that can overlap the runs with him, this squad will be deadly.
He's fast, man. Watching him live, I'm impressed with his speed. I really am. That was the two things, like seeing live and especially up close, because we had really good seats on Saturday. That was one of the things I was super impressed with. The other thing that I was super impressed with was Romulo's football IQ and his tackling. Just a menace at winning the ball back and winning duels. That was something that really impressed me.
He had 100 touches in this game, dude, which is just unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
For that position, it is ridiculous. And I think this is the second time this season that I've said that about him, the amount of touches he's had. And he had 4 entrances into the opponent's box, which, man, I don't remember the last time we had a left fullback that made that many entrances into the final third and into the opponent's box, which is really important because it eases the load on your left winger, which, to be honest, Ozzy hasn't been super reliable. We've had to use different players at that spot. So to be able to have another weapon there, to be able to reach the end line and make a cross or be available for a shot is huge, especially once the big games come around. I think he's going to be a big weapon for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, was anybody else surprised? Because I didn't see it in the stadium because I got there right before the game. Is anybody else surprised at the Angel Correa Leagues Cup top scorer little ceremony that happened? I forgot that he was the top scorer of that.
Why was it so late? I don't get it. Like, it's been so long, bro.
That tournament ended in August. It's November. What is going on?
Were they reviewing the goals or what? I mean, I just don't like somebody's demanded a recount on the goals, and we're waiting for the Supreme Court to rule.
No, yeah,
Stop the count.
I'm genuinely curious to see if Leagues Cup dropped the ball on that, or if someone in our front office just had that sitting on their desk in an unopened box and realized what it was.
Just so random. Like they had 6 other games or 5 other games that could have done that.
At this point, bro, they should have just waited to the beginning of the next one just to like, hey, this is what happened last year,
Honestly, yeah. Which, by the way, this is a future conversation. We'll get to this in like January or February. But I am curious to see how that stupid competition is next summer, considering it's a World Cup year. I think it's going to be very different. I don't know what to expect. So we'll see what happens. Okay, to put a bow on this game, actually, Lou, real quick, you got any stats you want to shout out? We've missed your stats, man. You got any like crazy numbers you wanna highlight?
No, not this time around. We only allowed 7 shots defensively, and I think that just kind of adds to what we've been saying, that we were so dominant in this game. And then the fact that we had 2.72 xG, I think that's also huge. Just goes to show that we're getting into the right spots. If Gignac gets hot, dude, and he gets dialed in, we're gonna be lethal because he missed a few sitters in this game. And if he's able to get hot for Liguilla, dude, this team's gonna be so tough to beat because now with Lainez being so red hot right now, Correa being Correa, and then Gignac being able to get hot, I think there's a lot there to look forward to.
Gignac just needs space because when he brings the ball down, his touch is not totally great right now, and I don't know if that's like he's going through it or if he just doesn't have it like that anymore. But I don't know. He just needs to have the space to be able to shoot and not have to like think about too much, I don't know those in the chat. The godfather of the show, or the father of the show, saying XG's and him saying the belief in Lainez is unhinged behavior. Hey, his best season in a long time, not just for Tigres, but just as a player. I gotta say it. I'm also Lainez.
He's been great this season. He's been Mr. Reliable.
Yep.
He's been Mr. Reliable. I don't think he's gonna go back to being inconsistent. I think he's found his groove.
I hope not. I hope that he stays that
I mean,
way.
the only reason I see him maybe reverting back to the old ways is if he loses in that transition when we do end up losing Aquino.
Yeah.
I mean, Aquino does facilitate a lot for him, but
Right.
hopefully he stays like that because we need him at that level.
Right. We will talk about Aquino actually really soon. Hearing a little bit about his situation. But to put a bow on this regular season, we finished in second place, 1 point behind the league leaders in Toluca. Guido only lost one match in the league. He lost more matches in Leagues Cup than he did in the league, which is hilarious. Um, so, with all that in mind, with his first real full season in charge, I think we should give it a grade. Let's give it a letter grade. Starting with AJ, what letter grade would you give Guido Pizarro's first full season as Tigres manager?
I'll give him a B.
Okay, solid B. Edgar?
Solid B.
I think he has to get an A. It wasn't perfect. There were still a couple things we could have improved on, but losing one game, it's not bad.
Lou?
I'm gonna give him an A as well. I think to only lose one game, and the only game he lost was against America. Um, to finish in second place with as many points as we had this season. Look, we finished with what, 36 or 37 points.
36.
So 36 points. We got flat out robbed against Mazatlan. So you could easily say that's 38 points. And then there was another game we got completely robbed in,
Cruz Azul.
and that would have been, so that would have put us at 40 points. I
Yep.
mean, that would have been a historic season. And we haven't had a season like this since the Tuca era back in Clausura 2019 when we finished as champions. So it's really impressive what he's been able to do. To me, if you look at the press conference, go back, review everything he said before when he first got the job. Everything he said in that press conference, he's done it. So he had like a list of things how he wanted the team to play. He's making the team play that way. And so to me, you got to give him props for that, to be able to implement a system in the way he's done it, with all the turmoil, everything going around, the drama and everything. To be able to do that, I think he deserves a high grade.
I'm going to say an A as well. And I also want to hear the letter grade from the father of this show. And also, I want to get to his question. Now that he's in the conversation, Arnoldo Lozano in the house.
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Better
up,
now that
man?
you're here.
You remembered us this week.
Dude, I'm literally driving on the way home. So
Perdido!
I need to dedicate more time to everything in general. I'm getting beat up at work. But dude, just picking off of what you were saying, I think a well-deserved A. I think exceeded all expectations, all the doubters, all the naysayers about what type of coach he is. There's definitely something that's very clear to me outside of the system and the X's and O's. The guy is definitely still the same leader. He's becoming a game manager, and little by little is putting his own touch on the type of games he's trying to, like, maneuver and manage us through, especially with the team that he little by little has built. So I think that total credit to him. Great leadership experience and being able to handle the locker room, the different types of personalities, the different age groups, the different types of players in itself, and players who don't even fit the system overall and what he's looking for. So amazing things for Guido Pizarro.
He is already doing what a good coach should always do, which is improve his players regardless of whatever the situation is. And look at all the examples on this team. Diego Lainez, who has improved under Guido Pizarro. He's become more consistent. Marco Farfan, a guy who is coming from an MLS team that was pretty mid and wasn't really that great with FC Dallas. Undisputed left back starter now, right? Juan Buruneta, who we had a lot of questions about at the end of last season. Now that he's playing further forward, look at what he's producing now under Guido. Romulo, another huge example, right? Like, there are a lot of examples of how he's improving individual guys despite the flaws that they technically should have within the system that you just mentioned, Ronaldo. So that to me is a sign of a good coach. And I think we've all known that Guido had this potential, but to see it come to life this season, I think has been really good. And long may it continue, because if the players improve, that means the team improves. And if the team keeps going the way we are, we could be lifting a cup. Who knows?
And even whenever we looked not as great as like the more exciting games that they had throughout the season, you knew what you were going to get out of the team. Definitely effort and then an intent to play a certain way. And so that to me, is we didn't have prior to this season with him even at the helm, and then even Paunovic and all the carousel of coaches that we had. Obviously Siboldi, it was more identifiable, and I would say that our roster was probably built that in a more deeper way. But now with this squad, the intent to play and the sacrifice of some of those players is highlighted week in, week out, even if we don't have the most positive results at times or the most exciting play.
Right.
8 years
Exactly.
ago, we lost them to Sevilla. I predict that in the future we will probably lose them to Europe again.
Maybe he goes back to Sevilla because they rotate coaches every like 6
I,
months.
I think eventually down the road, some Euro team, Spanish league, one of those might come knocking and want him, drop some coin.
We're talking like 3 years from now, though, right, Lou? 3 years
Yeah,
from now.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years from now, I think he's gonna do Tuca like things here, cement himself, solidify himself as a legendary coach, and then move on.
Well, at this
At
rate,
least at least for a bit.
with the way Arne Slot is stinking things up at Liverpool, maybe he ends up coaching Liverpool.
I
That'd
don't want
be
to talk about negative things.
me neither. Me neither. Um, One other thing, real quick, that I'll say before I jump to your question, that you dropped in the chat. An underrated aspect of the season has been the fact that Nahuel has played every single game. Because over the last year, between injuries and the stupid laser situation, he was in and out of the lineup, right? So to have him there every single game, really, like I don't think he hasn't played a game this season, even Leagues Cup. That stability, that leadership that he brings, I don't think that should go unnoticed because it's mattered. And obviously, he's been really big throughout the season with some saves and commanding the back line. I felt like his passing out of the back has been really solid this season. Not that it hasn't been before, but I just felt like it's been really consistent. Um, and he's had less adventures. He's kept his adventures to a minimum. You know what I mean? So kudos to him. I'm gonna get to this question that Arnoldo just asked in the chat before he joined. With Guignac and the sitters and loss of touch, is this the biggest drop off we've seen him in?
And I want to emphasize that because I was typing before I joined, and I probably didn't get more quality of question there. I want to emphasize the point that in the past, obviously he's had some injuries in the last couple of years specifically, though a lot of the instances that he has had this season, it wasn't because it's not a will effort, it's not a technical effort. It to me, it's been all about the timing, right? And he even talked about like he's not at his ideal weight. I think he's mentioned that a couple of weeks ago at a press conference, and that's understandable. But to me, his timing has been very off, and I know that's obviously due to the age, because you can still perform at a high level by staying in shape and making sure your sprint and your reaction at times can still be competitive, and even the longevity and the endurance of the match. But I think the timing and a lot of those sitters to me were all about timing in regards to what he's been on the field. But he's so good about getting involved with the buildup that he's still a big presence amongst the defense. But it was not a happy sighting, and hasn't been a happy sighting, because every time I'm cheering, like I don't want a goal to come through penalty. If it happens, I'm more than willing to accept that, but I want him to like still have that capability to be lethal in the box. And I just don't know if that, is fully there anymore.
Yeah, I think it's part of it. I think is desperation. I'm with you on the timing, but I think he's a little desperate to score, and I think sometimes that leads you to rush things. Yeah, I think eventually he'll start as he watches film, he'll start to realize that that he's rushing into these situations. He's got more time than, and part of it is old age, right? As you start to age, you feel like, oh, I'm slower, so I need to speed things up. But I think he needs to realize that a lot of times it's positioning and just the quality of your touch on it, and that a lot of times matters more than how quickly you get to the spot and how quickly you shoot it. It's your touch. So I think he just needs to get one or two under his belt, and then he'll get some rhythm. Obviously, he'll never be 2015 Gignac ever again, but I think he has the chance to finish in style if he just tweaks his game a little bit. But it's crazy to me that in build up he's still better than, for example, the guys we have behind him. So Gacelo, for example, was brought in with that in mind, that he could be a guy that we use in the build up, but Gignac's doing it better than him at this point. And
Yep.
and Nico unfortunately is not in the spots to be able to finish. And so right now he's basically our best option.
Yeah, and even in the goal, Lou, like think about the goal that Correa scores in this last game. That's a Gignac finish 3-4 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way that goes, off of a bad shot and it ricochets to leave Correa that sitter to score, right? And so I guess it was come to terms with it this past game that I'm like, Tigres creates a good and ton of chances, and I think that going back to your earlier mention when you guys were discussing it, that you were hoping that he gets hot this liguilla. I think that it's still a possibility where through all the buildup that we're doing in the system, which has been very exciting, like I mentioned, to even have that intent to play now. I think he could still produce, but I think I came to terms where it was like, man, I think it's father time for sure now.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this though, and I'll kick it to you, Edgar and AJ. Hit, these guys kind of just mentioned it, but his positioning on the field and his link up play, specifically with like Brunetta and Correa, as we saw in the Clásico, for example, those things are still valuable at almost 40 years old, and that's just something that can be a headache for other teams, right? Like even if he's not technically scoring, he's still a threat in that way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, without question. And I think defenders on other teams are still intimidated just by his presence, whether he's missing sitters or not. I think he's still contributing, definitely not to the extent that he used to, but like you mentioned, I think we still saw a lot of that. And he was still bringing out good form and good things out of Brunetta when they were both on the pitch together.
Yeah,
Hey,
definitely the presence. His presence alone, like Edgar said, it it opens up things for Correa, Brunetta. Um, and then who knows, like what if like teams are looking like, oh, this isn't the same Ignac, and they start loosening off of him, and then he finds his groove in the Ligia. So he's still, it's father time for sure, but his presence is still a huge part of this team offensively.
and he should have gotten a chance to score a penalty. But Bendito Liga MX and its stupid referees. I don't even know. I didn't get to see the highlights, so I don't know if it was actually like a worthwhile thing to call back. But I was just pissed that he didn't get to shoot the pen and have a chance to score. Um, it is what it is. Speaking of strikers, did we potentially see our last goal from Luis Gemelo, Nico Ibanez on Saturday? Even though it was called back for something from VAR.
I refuse to give up on my boy, man.
Lou, you got to be okay with us parting ways with him. Like, it's
Oh
time.
yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt. No doubt, man. No doubt.
Ya se va,
Um,
güey. Ya se va en enero.
he and I think he legitimately is on the way out. Like it's just the right thing for everybody. It's the right thing for us, and it's the right thing for him, because I think with our club, I think he's mentally at a point where there's no turning back. I think
Yeah, he's fatigued.
he's toast.
Yeah.
And he needs to find his groove at another club, perhaps a smaller club like Necaxa, or maybe he goes back to Pachuca. goes to Mazatlan. I don't know. He might be done. I mean, it's possible that that's the end of his career as far as like him not getting back to where what he used to be. Because mentally it's tough. It's a tough hurdle to get over.
Yeah,
But
yeah, dude, you went from scoring like 18 goals a year, 20
yeah,
goals a year.
yeah, and I mean he's had a good career. If his career were to end now and he ends up scoring maybe 3 more goals the rest of his career in the league, he's had a decent career. But as far as the team's concerned, I think there's still going to be a moment where you have to put Gignac and you have to bring him in. Uh, and that maybe he contributes. I still feel like he's got one in him, maybe two. So if that's the case, I hope it comes in a big moment, and I hope that kind of gives him a boost on his way out.
That's the type of energy we need, though, Lou. Like we need a magical run. We've built a very good season. Unbelievably, Linus outside of Correa has been our best player. Just threw up a little bit in my mouth saying that. But I think the we're gonna need that, right? We need the touch of Linus being, the second best player all season. Bruneta, right up there and having like a run. Correa having like the scoring. Nico coming off the bench and scoring, the winning goal to put us through the quarterfinal as we're suffering last minute tied 1-1. And we need a second goal to get us through. Like we're gonna need those moments from everybody. And I think that's the key to getting us to that ninth title is that it's got to be a group effort. I think more than ever we need a group effort to come out on top.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Arnoldo, I think we're gonna have to be perfect, man. And I say that because there to me, and I don't like to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. I think there is a real issue with the refereeing as far as bias is concerned. Like what I'm seeing as a trend in these last 2 seasons, I don't know who we upset in at the refereeing commission or what's going on behind the scenes, but there is a certain bias against us. Somebody put out a tweet yesterday, I think. 11 penalties against. We're one of the most penalized teams, and only four penalties in our favor. So the league clearly favors certain teams. Rayados, America. There's a certain trend there, and that concerns me because in a really tight situation where you you got to win or tie by a slim margin, by the slimmest of margins, and a referee comes out and says, "Hey, that's a penalty in the box against you," or "Yeah, they fouled us, but they didn't give it to us." I think there's going to be some scenarios like that in big time situations. So that's why I say we have to be perfect. In other words, we have to be so good that we can't let the referees play into it. So that
Facts.
means we need to dominate the games. We need to make sure that no matter what the referees do against us, we still prevail. And so that's going to take what you're saying, magical moments from a lot of these guys performing at their very peak.
Who said it in the group thread the other day, in the big group thread of 11 penalties, but how many of those are from Aquino? Who said that? Was it
That was Alvaro.
Alvaro Bar?
Yeah, I mean he's got a point.
Yeah.
I think he's had 3 alone this season.
Yeah. Jeez, in that 3 week span.
But
Also,
see, calls like that, bro. Certain teams get away with that, right? Because they're like, oh,
sí, güey.
not intentional, but Aquino does it. It's an automatic
Yeah.
PK.
That brother's cursed in that way. It's hard for me not to think that. Also, this is Lou when he thinks about Nico Ibanez and what he wants Nico to be. I got one more in me. Anywho. Okay. Let me ask a question for the group. With Liguilla on the horizon, we don't know who we're playing yet. We will know soon via the play-in. We were playing the winner as the 2 seed. We are playing the winner of the 7-8 game, which will be played between Tijuana and Juarez. So the winner of that game plays us. The question is real simple. Who would you rather have between those two
Juarez.
teams? Explain.
We avoid the synthetic field.
Okay. That's a very good reason.
I don't trust us in a series against Tijuana where we have to go play in synthetic field.
Okay. Lou, AJ, Edgar?
I tend to slightly agree with Arnoldo there. I feel like we were quite dominant versus Cholos, but we played at home, right? So you have to take that into consideration that we would have to go over there, play in that nasty field where we historically haven't done great in. So yeah, I'm gonna lean. And then it being wintertime, temperatures are gonna be a little nicer in Juarez. So I'll go with Arnoldo.
Yeah, I'll lean Juarez. Shorter trip for the boys, and then yeah, the synthetic field. That's a good reason too.
I think in terms of whose butt we can kick harder, Tijuana, but the field is of concern.
Here, let me say this about Tijuana. Their defense is buns. Straight up buns. I like my chances against their back line a little more than I do with Juarez. But yeah, the turf is tough. I don't know. I'm indifferent. I don't think it's going to be crazy difficult either way. But also, they're going to be a team that's going to have a little bit more rhythm than us because they're playing a playing game.
Yeah,
So-
how do we feel about all that? That's a big topic every end of the season. Like that's a lot of time to go away from playing.
Yeah.
It's 3 weeks.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's why that system needs to go away, bro, because it
Well, it
favors
is.
all
Thank
the
God.
scrub people. I mean, it really goes against the people that the teams that play the best, right? You put them in the ice chest and cool them down. But go ahead and knock a few more times on that table, Dennis, because I think we're gonna walk right into the final.
Oh, come on now. That's the energy I like.
I hope this doesn't come back to bite me, but I hope this doesn't turn into a sound clip later. But I think we're gonna walk right into the final.
Okay.
I'm hoping it happens, Lou. I'm hoping it happens. I'd like to be there this year.
Okay, so let's think about the bracket real quick. There's Edgar's dog. I've been waiting for her to make an appearance the whole episode. Let's think about this for a sec. So, what is our best case scenario as far as the bracket shakes out with how everybody's seated? I was talking about this with my friend who was taking me back to the airport today, Alejandro. And I think the best case scenario is obviously Toluca has to lose at some point. Like they cannot make the final. I don't want to deal with having to play them in a final and then having to play a second leg at their place. I don't think we win that personally.
I like that matchup the best, though. I think that's how.
You think so?
Well,
Yeah.
the reason why I like it a lot.
I like it better than America. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, and so do I. I think that without Vega, the longevity of them is not as good, and I'm banking on Turco Mohamed to choke like he always does. After he wins the cup, it's scripted. He does so bad, or fails to win consecutive championships after he wins. I think that overall Vega's absence is going to hurt them quite a bit. I think it puts us at a more even playing field, and I think America is better coached and has a more identified system that will kick our butt, just like we did at the beginning of the season. So I think if we're going to win it, and then add on to the story, right? Like we beat America, we beat Monterrey before. We've never beat Toluca in a championship. They're the hot team. Got the guy that has scored 3 or won 3 back to three-peat of a scoring title. So give me Toluca. I think that's the path. I don't think that they lose along the way. I think that it's favorable for them the entire way until the final.
Okay. Who would you rather see in the final? Would you rather see Toluca or would you rather see Chivas?
Bro, what are we doing? Talking about Chivas here?
I'm just saying. That's the team I keep hearing about. It's like, oh, Chivas,
We're gonna
they're
talk
gonna go all
about
the way. No manches. O sea,
we're gonna talk about Guadalajara, who is finally touching a good season and a good play, and to put them in there in the final. No, it's Toluca, America, Cruz Azul, and us. It stays in that capacity. It just depends, what lines up, and I just don't think Toluca loses. They could have a slip up, but if they have the slip up, it's going to due to the activity, just like we can have a slip up. So
sure, yeah,
it's an interesting scenario, and it just depends. America can also get into that action. In terms of they lost last tournament and this amount of break, and going against the Penguinos, it has everything that that they can come back and turn it around. So
are they the higher seed in that series, America, or is it
yeah,
Rayados? So they're closing at home. Okay.
yep.
So in that scenario, let's say the top 4 all advances out of the first round. So we would play Cruz Azul,
I
right?
see. I see Chivas beating Cruz Azul.
See, that's what I was about to get
Yeah.
on. I think that's very possible, especially now that Mier's out. Not that Mier was really that good anyway, but woof.
Yeah, but Mier is not a super goalkeeper, but he does help them a lot playing in that sweeper role to like distribute the ball. So they're gonna lose that aspect. I think it's gonna mess them up a little bit. So that's the one. That's the only upset I'm seeing right now, as far as lower seeds is concerned.
Okay,
But I'm with Arnoldo. They're not gonna beat a Toluca or anything like that.
right. Anybody? I know there was a chance that we could have gotten a Clásico in the first round. Anybody bummed out by that? You're like, it's fine.
It's fine, dude.
Yeah, it's fine.
They didn't have a shot against us anyway.
Nah.
Ramos is too busy getting ready for the Grammys as opposed to the Gia.
I mean, anything can happen, obviously, but their defense is a dumpster fire. And
Buns.
when your defense is that terrible, bro, it's really hard to win these games, like in crunch time.
Yeah.
Everything comes due, and it's gonna come due for them too. Their offense can only help them out so much and bail them out so much.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, I say let's table talking about the men's team for now. If we have time, maybe we can talk superlatives. But I do want us to move on and talk about Las Amazonas. Talk to us about Las Amazonas for a second, Edgar.
That's right. Our Amazonas were able to advance in Liguilla. The game was not the most exciting, but you can probably provide a little bit more insight as you were in the stands. It was a 0-0 draw against Cruz Azul.
Juarez.
Sorry, Juarez. I'm reading the wrong thing. Against Juarez, but yeah, not the most eventful in terms of, goals that we're used to.
Yeah, here's what I'll say about the entire series. The lack of goals, I don't think is a big concern because the way Juarez plays, they're very physical, very stop-start. They had their chances. Ceci made some big saves, especially in the first leg, especially towards the end of the first leg. The second half, she was on fire. Oh, my gosh. And then on Sunday, the referee was an absolute joke. I mean, the dude literally tried to make it all about himself and would just stop play every what felt like 30 seconds. Didn't give out multiple yellow cards to Juarez when they would like pull one of our girls back like on a transition play. That happened multiple times and he never pulled out even a yellow card for them. But it happened to us a couple times and quick to the pocket. I mean, it was getting feisty in the stands. Like, yeah, like people say stuff to the refs all the time, but like, I mean, it was bad. Like, the amount of chatter towards him throughout the entire game was insane. And it's like, that's no fun for everybody. That we have to be so like on his butt, on his case because he's incompetent at his job. It was really frustrating. I will say defensively, I thought we were really solid throughout the entire series. They had a couple chances here and there on Sunday, but they weren't like crazy great chances or anything. Anika Rodriguez was incredible. Of course she is. She was, I think she was named the woman of the match, and rightfully so. I thought she did really good. I really like Eve. Betty said seeing her live was good. I thought she was pretty solid for the most part. Obviously, like you mentioned, Edgar, not the prettiest game, not the prettiest series, but we moved on. That's all that matters. And now we have Cruz Azul waiting for us in the semifinals. For those of you who are watching on TV, what were your thoughts?
Horrendous game, bro. Horrendous game. It was giving me like flashbacks to the middle of the season when I was calling for Pedro Losa to get fired. He, man, it's just it worries me that he's so stubborn with the starting 11, and he's so stubborn with certain things.
Mayor.
Yeah. It's just I know there's injuries and I know there's things, but he needs to find a way to not pair up Mayor with Hermoso. It hurts us. It makes us slow, vulnerable defensively. Thankfully, our defense, our back line held up, but if we continue to play this way, we're going to get bounced. Cruz Azul, watch out. I know a lot of people don't give them credit, but they played us tough in the regular season. It was a come from behind tie that
Like
ended up
2 weeks ago.
2-2, and it was not an easy match, bro. Um, we had players. He didn't start the normal starting 11 because we had players coming back from international break for that game, so he was trying to rest players. But it's gonna be a series that we need to be really careful in because if we continue this trend, we're gonna get bounced either in this next series or the one after. And so Pedro Losa continues to be a concern for me. I think he had found the formula and then he went back to his old ways. So I was not happy to see that series the way it ended. I know Juarez is not a cupcake. I know they're not an easy team. I know it's tough to play over there. They have a good crowd. The field's kind of weird. The lighting's weird. Everything's weird about that stadium, but there's no excuse. Like it was one of those games or one of those series that we should have put away over there and then had a good result at home, which we didn't. So to only score one goal in 180 minutes, that's got to be alarms going off.
Any other big thoughts about the first series?
I was gonna agree with Lou. Yeah, I know. Like in the last episode we talked, we said that this wasn't gonna be an easy series. And I think these two games proved it. But definitely agree with not being able to put it away over there, and then having a stinker at home. We just looked flat offensively. We couldn't get past the press as good as I thought we should. But yeah, definitely the Cruz Azul is another one that we have to watch out for.
Yeah, Dreeker had mentioned this in the chat. He was saying it feels like we're parking the bus. I didn't feel like we were parking the bus. I just felt like our execution on Sunday, like on the ball, was not very good. And part of that was because there was a lot of fouls that should have been called that weren't. But I also think that our touches just weren't very clean either. I do think though that Oliveri coming in second half helped. I thought that she provided a little bit more support offensively in the first half or in the second half than in the first half than when Thembi was there. I didn't think Thembi had a really good game at all on Sunday, and that's a little bit of a worry for me. Maria tried to get anywhere on the field that she could on the ball, and I mean, she got fouled like crazy and nothing ever got called. I think she just got really frustrated with the referee. So hopefully she can kind of brush that aside for next game. But you're right, Lou. Like the formation being what it was again just stinks. I mean the easy solution again is you take out
Mayor.
Mayor and you put literally anybody else. I mean what needs to happen is Ferral needs to come back into the starting lineup, or somebody else needs to be at center back, and Farmer needs to play up in the midfield. You're wasting Farmer at center back to me. because she can get everywhere. She's huge, man. She's so tall and so athletic. I'm so impressed with like how she is on the ball and just how she is physically. Like she's really freaking good for such a young age. So put her in midfield where she can thrive a little bit more, and that will help a ton. I think Gordinali being out is a big deal too. Not having that option stinks right now. I mean, honestly, the bench was not very strong on Sunday, so it's not like we had a lot of options to turn to. But yeah, I think it's not looking great, but we got through it. And Edgar, I don't know what else you want to add about the series, but the fact that we got through it is right now all that matters, and hopefully we can put on a better show against Cruz Azul than we did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys definitely nailed it with everything. Flashbacks to the Mila Martinez era for me, but it just was not pretty at all.
I don't want to go down this conspiracy theory hole again, but I'll go down it. I think.
What are you, a Reddit forum? A
Yeah,
Reddit
bro.
thread?
I'm starting to sound like a nut, but I think the league has figured out that in order to create parity, you have to officiate these games in a way that favors the opponent. So, in other words, what you're mentioning, the referee, you mentioned incompetence. I think a lot of it might be the league telling them, hey, let it play out. Don't let them play physical against Tigres because we need to kind of slow them down, right? So, how do you slow them down? You play physical, you do some nasty fouls, you frustrate the opponent, and to me, the league is allowing it, right? It's by saying, hey, don't give out yellow cards, slow it down, let them get frustrated. It's okay, we got you. And so they've realized, okay, that's how you slow down Tigres. That's how you create parity, better for the audience. I think that's what they're thinking. And so Pedro Losa plays into this by starting the slower players. So how do you counter counteract the referees and the teams playing extra physical and the referees letting the teams play extra physical? Well, you bring in more physical players that are faster, right? So if you move the ball quicker, if you're more physical than they are, eventually that's not going to work for you. But what do? You plug in an older mayor who's not as physical, slower players, so you're slowing down play, which allows them to play you physical because you're not moving the ball fast enough. The ball's not turning and switching fast enough. And so we play into their hands. And Pedro Losa, for some reason, has not realized when you're going to play a team like Juarez and you got to know that Juarez is going to be physical, you have to change the way you play. So that means you change your formation, you change your starting 11 to allow and counteract that what they're going to do to you. So to me, that's why I get so frustrated with Pedro Rosa because he doesn't see these sort of things happening.
I am
I'll
also
take my tinfoil hat off now.
I could say everything you just said about Mayor with Alexia Delgado.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing.
Seeing her live, I guess I didn't notice this the last two times I've seen them play live. Is she afraid of tackling, dog? Like, it never seems like she wants to win a duel. And
It's the worst
she's
of both worlds.
slow. She's
She's
so
slow,
good.
not a good distributor, not physical enough to challenge.
Yeah, and to be in a pivot, right? Like to be deeper in the midfield, it just doesn't work for me. Like it just doesn't.
If you're gonna be at that spot, you either got to be a super nasty defender, a Romulo Zuarg type of defender, or you have to be an extremely good passer, distributor, a Mercado, Liliana Mercado type distributor.
Or just be
She's none of those.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why Aaliyah Farmer to me makes a lot more sense there centrally, because she's just a dog, like straight up. Like she will win duels just because of the fact that she's taller than everybody else on the field. She's got really good reading of the game. She's really good at passing. She's good. She's good like carrying the ball up the field too, because she's quicker than Delgado. And the same can be true about Mari Carmen Reyes, who I know that it feels like we've been talking about her all season, and yes, she's not appeared for the team at all this season, but that's also her. Like, she's not afraid to get in there and make a tackle. I saw that in the Clásico Regio Femenil that I went to last year. She's not afraid to, to get physical in
Not
that way.
afraid to join on the attack, not afraid to take shots on goal.
Exactly.
You know, like what is it that you get of Alexia Delgado? How many shots does she take? How many through balls does she make into the final third?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Wasn't
I'm not
pretty.
trying to hate on her, but there has to be a function, right? There has to be a hole you fill within the squad, and you're not doing it.
Yeah. There's a deficiency there, unfortunately. I will say though, Jenny Hermoso, her hold up play, so impressive, man. Like, so impressive. Just getting to see that live again was very nice. So shout out to her. Thursday is leg 1 in Mexico City, and Sunday night is leg 2 of this semifinal series, in which we will not predict the semifinal series. How do we see it playing out? Starting with AJ. Oh, you're muted. It's okay.
First leg, I'll go 1-1. And then second leg, I see us winning 1-0.
Ooh, low scoring. Okay. Edgar?
I think 2-1 victory away and 2-0 at home.
Okay. More goals. Lou?
I'm gonna go 0-0 on the road, and then a 1-0 win at home.
Woo!
Yeah,
Narrow.
A sufrir!
unfortunately.
Okay. I'll say 1-1 on the road, 2-0 at home on Sunday.
They're not playing at their usual spot. They usually play. Cruz Azul usually plays at their practice facility at La
Right. They're playing
Noria,
at the stadium
and they're
this
playing
time.
at Seul. So that actually plays in our favor because that pitch at La Noria is a little weird, bro. Everything seems kind of closed in.
Yeah.
The goals kind of look distant. It's just kind of weird to play at that spot. Like on one end, there's not a whole lot of room to get to the end line. So you're like almost hitting the wall. So like to be able to play at Seoul with that kind of space, I think it's gonna favor us. And then obviously to come back home and do it in front of our fans, I think will also be important.
Well, hopefully we can have a good showing there, because Seul's been a little cursed for us. I think the last couple times the girls have been there, we haven't gotten favorable results. So hopefully we can turn that around on Sunday. But I mean, this team has to make the final. It just does. It just does. And if we do not make the final, then I believe somebody's got to get removed from their job. Somebody needs to get
You
Nico Harrison,
you
if you
gotta
will.
bring the cup home, bro. If you don't bring the cup home, it's a failure.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no other way.
100%. So
There'll be a one-way ticket to Spain.
vámonos. Yeah, I agree. You can find the match on Thursday somewhere. Hopefully, I'm sure one of us will get the broadcast information out at some point, and then Sunday it'll be on YouTube and on Estrella, and I think Fox still here in the U.S. So there'll be a few places to watch Sunday's match on TV and on the streaming platforms. Okay, let's talk some interesting squad news on both the men's and the women's side. Edgar, talk to us about the Papachuca links that have been going on with this team.
Yep, so we've got some transfer news that's already started to circulate. Whether or not it's credible will be determined, but allegedly, Club Pachuca is interested in both Sebastián Córdoba and Nico Ibáñez.
What do we think about that? Well, especially now that El Limo Jimmy is gone. Maybe that rumor is dead, or maybe the new coach will actually want him. or both of them? What do we think?
I think that rumor's dead in the water, bro. I think that was a Jimmy Lozano petition
Yep.
because he especially likes Cordova. Uh, but I think now that Jimmy's gone, I think that rumor's dead. I think Nico was, for some reason, I have a sneaky suspicion Nico's gonna end up at Necaxa.
Me too.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I think it's a good spot for him. I think that's a good spot for Nico. And you never know. If Pachuca wants a trade, for one of their young central center backs, I think
You'll take it? What if they just give us Montiel?
that's not gonna happen.
All right. What about Ener Valencia?
I don't want Enter back. I know you guys do, but I don't want him back.
What about Orey?
I apologize to Ohey already. I said my apologies, but I don't want him back. Mr. Berrinches every offseason.
But actually,
Oh my word! All right, AJ, what do you think about that? You think that's actually going to happen, or you think it's dead in the water?
It's in the water. I agreed with you what you said the last episode with Cordova going to Rayados. I honestly see it happening. Just how his movements on Instagram, just he loves Monterrey, and I just don't see him leaving.
Well, let me clarify. He loves living in San Pedro.
Okay,
Let's keep it a
well,
buck.
Yeah. So
I mean, who doesn't? It's like the most like wealthiest or highest quality of life city in like all of Latin America, apparently, according to some research. But
yeah,
definitely
so-
Mexico, which is crazy. So
Yeah, so I can honestly see that. Just his movements on social media, it's like, okay, I can see it happening.
yeah.
But Nico, I can see him going to I think he needs to go to a small club like Necaxa or Mazatlan to really, if he wants to rejuvenate his career.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Leon is about to have a foreign spot open.
they
Yeah.
can take him.
Yeah.
They could.
And
They
they do have a history of taking our players.
Yep. It'd be really funny if him and Funes Mori were on the same team. Not gonna lie. Would be pretty funny. What do you think, Edgar?
Those raquetas on the same team.
Bro, how dare you compare Nico to Funes Muerto, bro?
One's got a little bit of life left in him. The other one was arguably never alive.
That's true.
Facts. Okay, now
One's dead and one's nearly dead.
Yeah.
what do you think happens with Cordova at this point? Do you think that Pachuca would be a good place for him? Or is he a Rayados boy? Is he go somewhere else? What do you think, Edgar?
I think footy-wise, he would benefit from going to a team like Pachuca. But I agree that definitely doesn't align with the quality of life that he's looking for. Especially when his former club was America and he was, in the LF. Probably gonna go the Rayados route if they open the doors to him, which it seems like they did.
I feel like he should go to MLS at this point.
He'd be better off for sure in MLS.
Austin FC.
Austin, the California teams,
San Diego. I think he would fit.
go
the
to San
system.
Diego or LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy could use players just in general right now. Places like that. If he wants a good quality of life, he can get that in Los Angeles.
Yeah, the shopping, he could get everything he wants.
Randy's Donuts every day of the week. The best donuts in the country. Come on now. Who says no to that? I'm kidding. What's the next rumor on the list?
Next rumor. We'll keep it with the men's news. Daniel Aceves from Pachuca is on the radar. Allegedly wants to leave Pachuca. Tigres and Monterrey are the primary teams allegedly interested.
I know nothing about him. Somebody inform me.
Good kid, man. I like him. Young. He's 24, Mexican. Just defensively, he's pretty solid. I was looking at some of his stats. He's got a good long ball, so he's got a good foot on him, like Pizarro likes. Um, Lots of touches, so he's very involved. Good with interceptions, recoveries. I think he's got the qualities of a defender. Tackles, that sort of thing. Duels won. Like statistically, he's looked pretty good when he's played. And I think he could be a solid option. I'm not saying he'd come in and take over the role like he'd bench Angulo or something, but he is one of those guys that, being Mexican, and I think he's only valued at 1.6 mil or something like that. You wouldn't be spending too much, and you have a really good future potential good player, but also a really good backup to come in case of injuries.
So you're saying that he would fill in a potential roster spot left by one Eduardo Tercero, and it
Oh
actually be
yeah,
used?
huge upgrade from Eduardo Tercero. Yeah.
Hold on now. Let's not get crazy here.
Be careful talking crap about pizza delivery, man. I'm kidding. Hey, one that I think we forgot to put on the list, Edgar, it's not directly Tigres related. It's Tigres adjacent. The Palavecino rumor, because apparently he's leaving Necaxa, right? And it seems like all the big teams want him. America wants him. Monterrey wants him. We want him. Toluca wants him. I also saw earlier in the week that the Guido Rodriguez to America rumor has started again, since he's not playing at all for West Ham now that they changed coaches. I don't know. Like, would that be an option worth considering? Like him in the squad? Not Guido, Palavecino.
Only if we got rid of Gorriarán. I think that's the only way you can actually talk. That's why we need to desperately offload foreign players that are not playing at elite level. That's why we need to get rid of Nico, possibly Gorriarán, to free up these spots to be able to have a slot for him. That's why I think America is the front runner to get him.
Okay.
I mean, he'd be great addition to the squad if we could land him, but I think it's a long shot. I think there's at least 2 or 3 teams ahead of us
Sure.
for him.
Sure.
Better position as far as negotiations is concerned to acquire him.
Okay. Okay. The next one. Last one on the men's side. I want to start with you, AJ, with this discussion. Javier Aquino has been rumored to both been offered an extension, and now there's a counter rumor of him possibly not getting renewed. So, what do you think is the conclusion of this Aquino saga, if you will? AJ.
I'm conflicted because I think with Aquino, he brings the best in Linus, in my opinion. The way they the overlapping runs, like they have a good understanding of each other's game. I don't think Chewy's ready to be the full-time starter at right back yet. Give him some more games in there. So I would extend Aquino maybe 1 year, 2 years, and that'll be it. I wouldn't let him go just yet.
Edgar, do you agree or disagree?
He's definitely a legend. I don't think you can let him walk out the back door like that. I think he's a player that needs to retire at Tigres, but I do think his role needs to diminish if he's going to stay. Start incorporating Chuy Garza a little bit more. You hear that every season, and then he doesn't get any minutes. He'll play 1 or 2 really good games, and then he disappears. I think there's been 3 consecutive seasons where Chuy Garza just does not get the minutes or the real opportunity, whether it's through his merit or just the fact that Aquino has been just so consistent and so good. It's difficult. I hope that he stays. For me, it's difficult to understand why you wouldn't want to keep him.
What do you think, Lou?
I'm with Edgar. Extend him. I'm willing to extend him up to a year. Give him another season where he's pretty much undisputed starter. Let's say that, but really diminished role for his last season. If he's happy with that, then I'm happy with it. And I think another big asterisk to that is that it needs to depend a lot on how he plays this liguilla. In other words, you got to be perfect this liguilla. And what I mean is no mistakes, no handballs. If he costs us a final, for example, or is a determining factor in us not getting the cup, then I think we need to reevaluate that. So to me, this is the type of negotiation I would rather see us make right at the end of the season. Because to me, if he were to, for example, make like the mistakes he made against Inter Miami in a league final, it's really hard to bring him back for another 2 years or a year and a half or whatever, knowing that the fan base is going to be extremely upset with him. Um, so to me, there's got to be some conditions if he does renew, and I think it needs to be max 1 year. I think he's got another good 6 months left in him, and I think you'll start to see diminishing speed, diminishing endurance, that sort of thing that comes with old age, and which we need to start allowing Garza or anybody that we bring in to play at that role.
I would give him an extension. I would offer him an extension of 6 months plus the option for another 6 months.
Kind of like we did Carioca, right?
Yep, basically. Um, but I agree with y'all in the sense of whenever his last season is, it needs to be a vastly diminished role. And maybe a role where it's diminished, but also gives him maybe a little bit more versatility, where maybe he comes in not as a right back substitution, but maybe he's able to play a little bit further forward again from time to time, like we've talked about on the show multiple times this season. I just at some point like that era has to end. Not to say that he's been awful, but there has been signs this season. I felt like he's gotten a little bit slower this season. Um, Even watching him live the other day, I felt like he was a little bit slower than his usual self. And then obviously he's had multiple mistakes this season, more than probably ever before. So um, I want to see Chewy become the starter, but obviously he's not done enough to like stranglehold on that like Farfan has on the left hand side. So um, I think 6 plus 6, 6 months plus 6 months is the way to go, personally, for me. Before we get to the last transfer bit, Threeger has arrived. Only took you about an hour and 10 minutes, my friend. But I'm confused by your comment. How does Chelos change for the future? Are we talking about his national team switch, my friend? Is that what we're talking about? Because I'm confused by your wording. Maybe clarify that up for us here in a little bit. Edgar, reveal to us the last bit of transfer extension, contract extension news that was on the list.
Officially confirmed earlier in the week, Anika Rodriguez has extended her contract with the Amazonas through 2027.
Excelente. Through May or December, do you know?
I read December, but I'm not entirely sure.
She needs to just stay at Tigre for the rest of her career. I hope she never leaves.
Agreed.
And
yeah, it's great news.
She's the future captain as well, by the way, like she needs to be. And if she's single, I'm right here. Anyways, that's not important.
Hey, way to shoot your shot there, Dennis. We lost a lot of players that had a deep connection with the squad and deeply identified with the squad, with the values of the squad. So to me, Anika is one of the few players that we've acquired that really has that perfil tigre. You guys know me. I'm not a guy that uses that term loosely. Like she truly does fit the perfil tigre,
Yep.
and to me, it was key to keep her around because it's important to have that kind of grit, that kind of attitude, that kind of approach to the game, and she just brings it to me. She's a really important piece of this squad in terms of chemistry, in terms of what she does on the pitch. So to me, that was great news.
Agreed. May her stay be very long. Yeah, the Canada switch, says Streetger. I guess if he makes the switch and he's still on the team, that his youth minutes doesn't qualify anymore. That's got to be what that means, if I had to guess. Because if he makes the one-time switch, then it doesn't matter anymore towards the youth minutes. That would be
Which
my guess.
which by the way, that's a good move for him. I think he had
For sure.
no future on the Mexican side. I think culturally he fits well there. I think he's going to be well coached, and I think he has a better shot, like career wise, to be able to break into that starting 11. So I think it's a good move for him. I don't want to criticize him at all for doing that.
What's interesting to me about that whole thing is that Jesse Marsh really likes him. Like that interview that he gave the other day talking about their decision to bring him in, he spoke very highly of him. For a guy who doesn't really play, who hasn't been playing much this season, he sees something in Marcelo that maybe other people don't see. So
We
I think
we
that's a really
all
interesting situation.
we all wrote him off, and I think he's had some bad performances, but the kid does have talent. Like
For sure.
there is potential there. It's just getting to him. I think part of the issue is just the mental aspect, right? The focus. I think he needs to have a little nasty to him. He just doesn't. I think he's kind of, man, I don't want to call him an airhead, but he's maybe has a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's a good way to
And
put it.
and I think he needs to focus on the game. He needs to study the game more. But there's certain qualities about him that honestly I'm like sometimes like there was like little parts of the game this last game where I was like, man, look at this guy, right? Like to have that aggressiveness. I think there's just certain things that you say, oh man, there's something there. It's just that we haven't been able to tap into it, and we've had several coaches, and we haven't been able to get it out of him consistently.
Right.
And I mean, to be fair, he's still really young. Maybe he matures, maybe he grows up, maybe his understanding of the game improves, and he still develops into the player that many of us thought he could be. But so far, he's what Siboldi's had him, Pauno's had him, Pizarro's had him, and I think Siboldi was the one that really kind of maxed him out. But even then, he wasn't super consistent. But I think I could definitely see a coach like Marsh saying, "Hey, there's something there, and I think I can get it out of him." I think
Yeah.
that's a fair argument.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that that's happening with him now, where he's like being even remotely considered for the senior national team setup for Canada 7 months out from the World Cup. That's really interesting to me too, because it's not like it's just a random year. Like, does Marsh have a thought that he could make the World Cup roster? Who knows, right? He's probably not going to play because I mentioned guys last week: Tejan Buchanan, Jacob Schaffelberg, Jonathan David is striker, but Alfonso Davis plays as a winger for them. Like he's not even a left back for the national team there. So I don't know. Like that's really interesting. Again, the timing of it all I think is very, very interesting. So we'll keep our tabs on that situation as it plays out. So yeah, really interesting. Real interesting. Okay, one last thing, because I don't think we have any from the vault moments that we were able to put down. Right, Edgar? No, okay. We need to shout out the children, the academy children. First things first, the under 21 team finished with 43 points this season. Excelente. Speaking of the under 21 team, Leo Flores, a kid who we've talked about on the show before, top scorer in the U21s with 11 goals. In the under 19s, Luis Ibarra, also top scorer in the league for the under 19s, 11 goals. And in the under 17s, Eric de la Cruz, top scorer in the league, 10 goals. And I think every single team within the Tigre system, or almost every single team in the Tigre system, made Liguilla in their respective leagues this year. So,
Great
shout out the
news.
kids.
Leo Flores is one of those guys that I hope gets first team minutes. I think he's been very consistent in the youth academy, so I think he's earned it. I think you know, I'm always a big proponent that if you're gonna have a third stringer like Acelo Lopez, I think that opportunity should be given to somebody in the youth squad. Bring him along slowly, kind of get reps, get some minutes under his belt, even if it's just in practice, but get some of those reps with the top squad. I think is important. And he's a guy that does have a lot of potential. He's got the build to be a good center forward.
He was getting a couple minutes at Atlas when he was out on loan. It's
Yep.
a little surprising to me that we didn't plug him in for a couple youth minutes, but he's killing it. And I think he's going to earn that opportunity pretty soon.
Yeah, speaking of Gacelo, is this bro going to stay around in January or is he getting called back to Toluca? It feels like he has no future.
I just don't see Pizarro using him because the thing with Gacelo is he's not going to give you anything as far as goal scoring is concerned. He's a guy that really struggles in front of goal, and I mean he does well with the build up, but you got to have a little, at least some kind of chance to score, and he just doesn't give it to you. So I think in the offseason we go out and get a killer nine, and then if you need a backup, I think you bring up Leo Flores. I think that's probably the best case scenario, and then go from there. Gacelo, we only got him on loan, right? And it was a short term loan.
Yeah, it's a year-long loan, but I wonder. I guess what we don't know, we talked about this, I think, last week or a couple weeks ago in the group thread, not even on the show, is that I think there may be a clause to make it permanent depending on how many appearances he makes. And I wonder if we're already like close to that number. I don't remember the details. So
Yeah, it was loan with option to buy, and I think there was something about his minutes either requires more money or requires us to buy him.
well, hopefully you don't have to buy him because I don't feel like I just don't think he's a long-term fit. I don't think he's a bad player. Honestly, I really don't think he's a bad player. But he just doesn't fit our team.
No, we need a killer nine, bro. It's what we need. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like that's gonna help out Correa. That's gonna help out the wingers. So you go out and get a killer nine, and then Gacelo's your backup, and that's it. And then you can, if you need a third guy, then you got Leo Flores who
Yep.
can come in and give you minutes. So to me, that's just let his loan play out, and you get rid of him next summer, and then if you need to go out and get another striker, you do.
Yep, for sure. Okay. Well,
Has Ozzy Herrera had any more rumors floating around about him? I think
besides
there
the
was,
Portugal one,
yeah.
no, we haven't heard any other like follow up to that.
MLS teams, the only one I kind of saw, or the only name I saw floating around was Orlando, but I don't know if that was ever accurate.
Okay, interesting. I don't know if he'd make sense
That
there.
that's a guy that I wouldn't mind like offloading. I mean, he's good. It's just the inconsistency kind of gets to me a little bit.
I don't disagree, but there's more players we gotta get out first.
Yeah, for real. That's a long list. Vigon, Tercero, Nico, Cordova. That's a lot of players.
Isuto.
Pisuto. Yeah, it's a long, long list.
The Kraken, everybody's favorite,
Bro, good luck getting rid of that guy with the amount of money he
with the
makes.
wages. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I forget that he exists sometimes.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I think he came on Saturday, if I remember correctly, at the end. But yeah, it's that has been a failure in every single way, shape, and form. So, all right, is that everything?
Think so. That's all I got.
Okay, I will leave you guys with two things. One, the purple Tigres Femenil kit looks very nice in person. I just bought it for my mom as a early birthday present, and it's very nice. Very, very, very nice. So go get you one if you haven't already. And I'll leave you with a quote from my aunt. Tienen todo este dinero para pagar a estos jugadores, pero no tienen dinero para arreglar los baños en el estadio. She has a point. She has a point. Am I wrong? Is she wrong?
I'm not gonna add fuel to the Rayados fire, bro. All right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore that little hurdle. I'm gonna ignore the new stadium hurdle. We got lots of points.
all the money we spend on jerseys, and it's going towards the salary of Uriel Antuna instead of fixing the bathroom at the stadium.
If you hired Uriel Antuna, you should be fired.
Torrado.
I recall saying no one can fuck up more than Antonio Sancho did, and then I was proven wrong.
Yeah, for real.
No kidding. Well, we got a cat appearance here at the end. Shout out
It's my boy Panda.
Oh, nice. Very, very nice.
Big Tigres fan.
I would hope so. You got a jersey for him or what?
Oh yeah, dude, he's got everything. He's always ready in game day.
Do you have a jersey for your dog, Edgar?
Not yet, but I need one.
You should. You should.
Lou
That would-
probably has some game worn edition jerseys for his cat.
No, he doesn't get that fancy, bro. He's got to earn it. He's still a young buck.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, last thing. This is not even Tigres related. I regret to inform the public that the Selección jerseys look very good in person. Unfortunately, I will have to buy one because they do look quite good.
We won't judge you, bro. We won't judge you too severely
Yeah, they look
for supporting that fire dumpster of a team.
Yeah, it's very nice, especially the player version. Especially the player version, it's very nice. Unfortunately, so. But I'm not buying that first before the third kit, the black and green third kit, whenever that comes out in a few weeks, hopefully.
Hot take: the Mexico kit looks better.
I mean, it does, but
I would have to spend money on that before the third kit.
mm,
But the away kit is still on my list, and I still need to get that one.
yeah, it's not on sale down there in Mexico like it apparently was already at some stores up here in the States. It's still full price. So, but it looks good. It does look good in person, I will say that. I was telling Alfred this the other day when we were at the games. I don't know if you guys have noticed this on TV, but if people aren't wearing yellow at the stadium, the most common jersey that I'm seeing that people are wearing that's not yellow is last year's away kit. People love to wear that at the stadium. I mean, I wore it on Saturday. So
Last year's away kit or the
Yeah.
year before?
last year's,
Okay.
yeah, the royal blue with the yellow stripe. Not the navy blue one is still pretty popular too from 2 years ago. But last year's, I mean, I probably saw about 500 people wearing them. It was insane.
That is a
So-
gem of kit.
It is. It really is. I mean, I have two versions of it. I have both the player and the. Yep, see that
There
one.
we go.
I have both the player version and the fan version. So.
If that one was released in long sleeve,
Oh my God,
it would
Edgar.
have been perfect.
Yep. Yep. Re-release it. Re-release it, please.
I'd-
I
I'd-
would. I wonder if they're gonna put the black and green one as a long sleeve. Surely they
Yeah.
will. We've already done it with the other two.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
surprised the purple one was not in a long sleeve, but I don't think they've ever done that for an Amazonas only kit, if I remember correctly. So
I
Well,
think
they had the purple first season one in long sleeve,
oh yeah.
but that never got released for the public.
Yeah. Boo.
Yeah, that's one that's missing. That's a holy grail type of jersey that's missing from my collection.
Yeah, yeah,
That one day I will find.
yeah. One day you'll find it floating around eBay.
I'll run into Belen Cruz and bribe her for it.
Hang it up on the wall. That's awesome. All right, let's get out of there on that funny note. Thank you everybody for joining us, whether you've watched live or you've joined us on the pod. We appreciate you guys joining us this week. As always, you should follow us if you haven't already on Low Times at every single platform. You can check the show notes if you're watching or if you're listening on podcast, or if you're watching on the screen, check out the ticker below and follow us there. You can follow all of us individually at our specific profiles. Also, if you look at the screen or if you look at the show notes, we will be back next week to recap what hopefully will be a successful series for our Amazonas. Hopefully, we're previewing a Liga MX final next week, and we will also look ahead a little bit more towards the Liguilla. And since we didn't have time for it tonight, we will do superlatives next week. I'm making that decision right now. So you three get your picks ready to roll. Maybe Alfred will join us next week for that. That'd be awesome. But that's it for us tonight. Until then, arriba la U. You guys have a great rest of your week. We will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for supporting us, and all you fellas here in this recording with me, thank you for being here. Adios.
Peace.